future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Welcome to the National Safe Child Show, addressing the health, safety, and welfare of all children nationwide, because it shouldn't hurt to be a child. Here is your host, Tammy Stefano.
Hi folks, welcome to the National Safe Child Show. Thank you for joining us today. I want to start the show by wishing every father out there over this Father's Day weekend a blessed and happy Father's Day, to those who are with their children, to those who are not, to those who are fighting the battle to try to regain some custody. It is just as horrific as it is with moms and parents alike fighting this fight. My heart goes out to you. So happy Father's Day. We want to jump right in. I know that we have several issues to cover, and I apologize for any delays. We have covered the story of Gerald Price and Jamie Day, a woman who was given a hard labor sentence of 30 years for a crime that she says she did not commit. And folks, I'll tell you, I believe her all the way, because the evidence shows that she did not commit this crime, although she remains in prison for almost 3 years now, with 3 children that her father, their paternal grandfather, is raising. Unfortunately, it wasn't a direction that he chose, but it's the direction that life chose, and he's stepped up to the plate. So, do we have Gerald Price? Mr. Price, do we have you on the line with us?
Yes, I'm here, Tammy.
Thank you so much, Gerald, for joining us. I suppose let's jump right in just to give a brief synopsis of the case and what has brought you to this point where you are right now. You have a daughter.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I want to thank you, first of all, for having me on, and for the second time, and I really do appreciate it. And to answer your question, we have a daughter who has a family. She has 3 children. She was accused of wrongfully of abuse of a child, which the story, as it unfolds, explains what was really going on with that child. She was accused, arrested. In the course of the continued investigation, as the state built their case, and conclusive exculpatory evidence, which at that time they entered into a conspiracy to hide, and they were tampered with and hid that, and that's another story in itself. I mean, that's an in-depth part of the story, but our story is the 5-year ordeal of her arrest, 2 trials, one in family court, one in criminal trial court, and ultimately a conviction that sent an innocent woman to prison. The story continues as the story of the grandparents, who is my wife and myself, raising these children and raising her children, and the interface that goes on between us and her while she serves time for a crime she did not commit.
I'm sorry about that. Okay. I want to now give the audience an update. Something happened over the past year. There's been some light that's been shed. There's been a turn of events that have taken place. Can you apprise the listeners what has happened? She got 30 years hard labor sentence, and There was a breakthrough. Tell us about that.
Well, the first part was we filed an appeal with the appellate court, and the initial appeal, the court found that the sentence was shocking to the mind. My daughter was a non-offender. She didn't have any bad habits. She's a church member. She didn't even drink or smoke, for that matter, and had no priors. And they sentenced her to 30 years in this case, which in fact the state knew that she was innocent. That's what's the most horrific part to live with. But the appellate court determined that the sentencing was shocking to the mind, was the verbiage that they used in the response to the appeal, and remanded it back to the criminal trial court and ordered resentencing, and her sentence was reduced from 30 to 10 years. We have since appealed that conviction also. Obviously, we're not content if we know we're innocent. And in the meantime, we have undergone every avenue we could. We filed a complaint against the attorney. The story will show you very questionable conduct on the part of the attorney at criminal trial that represented us, which we felt like he acted under pressure from the district attorney's office.
Well, there was a lot going on, right? There was a lot of what seemed to be foul play going on. There were Jamie's private counsel ended up joining forces, so to speak, with the district attorney's office, because the DA's office had one of the assistants or one of the DAs who had charges that were brought against him for sexual assault. And while this trial is going on, your attorney, Jamie's attorney, your daughter's attorney, the DA's office, out of all of the attorneys that they could have chosen, I feel like this is a Humphrey Bogart, out of all the places in all of in all of the world, you chose this place. Well, out of all of the attorneys that they could have chosen, they choose your attorney in the midst of a trial to represent the DA that had sexual abuse allegations, and your attorney accepted. And then everything went downhill. Jamie's attorney accepts, and then everything goes downhill. Everything.
It went downhill. It went downhill to a shocking degree.
Yes.
Because this attorney had everything in his possession that he needed to dismantle the state's case, because the state had already been caught in family court in regard to this. So it's the companion case to the criminal trial. In family court, they had already been caught withholding this exculpatory evidence.
Right.
As an outfall of them being caught, there were multiple lawsuits filed against the state. It is clear that those lawsuits would have led to the doorstep of this sitting district attorney. They were not named in the lawsuit, but rather the Department of Children and Services, all the experts that surrounded the case for the state, they were all named. It's very telling to begin with that the district attorney's office wasn't named.
Absolutely.
It suggests some sort of relationship between them. But then, as you just said, as we got through the juvenile court, which in essence we totally won that, because that's when they were exposed. And
right.
The story, which I wrote in a book that I assume we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah. Let's talk about that book. Well, I don't want to talk about it because we don't have a lot of time, but tell the folks the name of the book. Folks, if you don't read this book, you cannot understand how egregious this situation really is. And Gerald, you're working on a second book. I don't know how you juggle it all. I give you all the credit in the world. You're raising 3 boys because your daughter still sits in jail, and you're writing another book, and you wrote the first book. The Darker Side of Justice.
Yes. The name of the book is The Darker Side of Justice. You can read this story in I guess you would call it a play-by-play.
Right.
That you can obtain it. It is now available at Barnes & Noble. You can get it there. You can get it on Amazon at any time. You can also buy it from the publisher, Tate Publishing, which are easily found. Any of those locations are easily found on their website.
Yeah, sure.
It just became available on Barnes & Noble.
Okay. All right. So they can read the book. You have an appeal. You get an appellate attorney. You've been forced to sell the home that you bought for your daughter and her then husband. You've been forced to sell that home. You've spent your retirement money. You've worked extra hours, all in a different direction, sir, because you had saved up quite a bit of money and had made a plan, a life plan to retire. And again, life has dealt you a different deck of cards, if you will, or better stated, the Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS, has dealt you a different deck of cards, a deck that nobody should be dealt, but on a daily basis, people are being dealt this deck. This went to the appellate court. It went to the appellate court, and the judge said something when he was making his second determination about your daughter. Tell us what he said. This is shocking.
Well, he made an admission in chambers that he had gotten, and I did get this secondhand, but I got it directly from defense counsel, who was in the chambers with him, and he said that the judge conceded that he had gotten caught up in the media frenzy of this whole thing, and had, in his own words, he had given her too much time. So he was expressed that he was thankful that he got an opportunity to reduce that time.
Right.
And it was in that process that he reduced it from 30 to 10 years. But 10 years is not a bargain for an innocent person.
That's right, it's not. A month is not a bargain, okay? People have spent a night in jail and have come out of jail saying, oh my gosh, it felt like a year. So we can't imagine what a month, a year, 10 years possibly would feel. I can't even fathom it. Jamie filed the appeal to begin with because the truth you feel was suppressed. Is that right?
It was very much suppressed in the media. The district attorney's office controlled the media. It's very clear that they did. I have sent them information, court records. I've tried to get the attention of the local KPLC, KBHP TV here in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and they have ignored this.
Well,
I asked the question very pointedly, does public officials being caught in corruption, not an allegation from someone with sour grapes, but I have the court records here. I can prove what I say. Are you willing to do anything about it? And I'm ignored. I'm met with silence. What we had done, we filed a series of complaints and waited on response for each one of them, so it's taken time to do it. We started with the district attorney because we were on this point just a moment ago, but this defense attorney. This defense attorney was deliberately representing in a conflict of interest the DA. And when he left, I mean literally from within days of the moment that they made that agreement for him to represent them, there was an about face in our representation that was clear. We could see it. And it went so far, and I have to say this in a very condensed version because I know that we're very limited on time, but it went so far as to he was hammering her for hours in court to plead guilty, even though we knew she wasn't, and we knew he had the evidence to prove it and would not bring it to the front.
When it went
He
back,
he did not even bring forth the witnesses or the evidence that was available to him.
Right, and that's what
that would have brought the house down.
Right. The therapist that your daughter was taking this young boy to 3 days a week, they went on a frenzy to discredit him and not allow any of the longevity of therapy that would have proven that this child was in fact very sick. And folks, just to be clear, you know, the last time I had Gerald on, I get a lot of very hateful emails saying, you know, you're supposed to help children. Yes, we help children, and yes, we cover cases that where child abuse is rampant, and it's mostly by a system, by the way, but not always. But in this particular case, we do have a heart for this young boy because he is a minor child that has been abused within his mother's care, which is why the court gave your daughter and her then husband, his biological father, custody. But he is a very sick boy. And folks, I do want to bring this to your attention. We investigated this. National Safe Child investigated this. They made a statement. DCFS and the courts and Lori Nunn, who was the head DA, made a statement and said, ever since this child has left the care of this alleged monster, Jamie Day, who sits incarcerated for a crime that she didn't commit, they said this boy has been normal. Well, folks, I want to let you know, I personally spoke with the pharmacy who was giving 11 medications, psychotropic medications to this child over a year after Jamie was incarcerated. And we got the names of the medications. This kid was so doped up by the system to try to make him look normal, and I've recorded the conversation. I intend to release that recording. It's myself and the pharmacist. It's a one-person consent telephone call. I had my legal right to record this call. It names the child and 11 different psychotropic drugs. He wasn't well. He was doped up, folks. Gerald, we have to speed it up.
Well,
there was an appeal. Go ahead. You got to.
Well, the most important thing that we've done now is that in the family court, as I said, they were openly caught with holding this evidence. And the evidence is a journal that was maintained by the foster parent that had him under state supervision, was monitoring, and he was continuing to self-inflict and openly admitted to this foster parent that he had orchestrated all of his supposed injuries himself, that he did, self-inflicted. He tells her openly he did, and says, I'm going to do that to you because I don't like it here. I wanted to leave Jamie, so I made him think she was hurting me, and now I'm going to do the same thing to you. And she documented that and provided that information on a weekly basis to the state, and the state, rather than bring it in as exculpatory evidence and expose it to the court, they hid it. And which, because of its
problem, because that's where the corruption comes in. When you hide exculpatory evidence, when you suppress it, or how about this? When you've got a doctor who you base this whole case on, really, you're basing the case on this expert that comes in, that, folks, we've got the emails that say the expert, this now child abuse expert, folks, and we're going to be covering these child abuse experts because we've got a whole show about this. This is a very interesting new arena. But this child abuse expert, who was not an expert at the time, sent an email to the district attorney saying, listen, I'm on the road this weekend. I've got some stuff going on. But if you want to send me over the whole file for me to look at, I'll do my best to roll my eyes over it. But you can count on me for the Monday trial. And this expert did go in Monday. And he did testify, and the court did take this testimony. He didn't know what was going on, because pretty much in the emails it says, "What do you need me to do, DA, who has pretty much bought out everything? You've got me. Just do me a favor," because shortly thereafter is when he got his credentials to be a child abuse expert, and his career skyrocketed right after the trial. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. Well, let me add to that.
Very
and tell
briefly,
you that
though.
the court record, the court record shows clearly that the judge, first of all, the jury benched their conviction on the testimony of that expert you're speaking of, who really knew nothing about the case. He just put a coat and tie on and said what he was asked to say.
Okay.
And then the judge benched his sentencing on the testimony of that expert and said so in the court records.
Exactly.
So his testimony was, but the other thing that I want to make sure that the audience knows is, as though it's been a 5-year uphill battle. Our last, the latest, it's not the last, it's our latest hope, is that we finally filed a complaint with the Louisiana Disciplinary Board against the 2 assistant DAs who were hands-on in withholding this exculpatory evidence. And that investigation is underway.
Right. And those two people, folks, I want to say their names. This is Carla Sigler and Cynthia Guillory with a G-U-I, though. Guillory, thank you, with a G-U-I. These 2 folks are under investigation from the DA's office, and I want to take it a step further. There's a gentleman, an attorney, a practicing active attorney who is in Louisiana and who I spoke with today. And this man, his name is Chris, oh goodness, help me out here, Gerald. Chesson, thank you. Chesson, yes. Attorney Chris Chesson. There's a 6-year election for the DA's position. He ran in the 2014 election. He was head to head, okay? And then something happened. And what he explained to me was no different than what Gerald is explaining to me. He explained it to me today. And if he didn't have a court hearing, he'd be on with us, and he will be coming back on the show. He said the parish is known to use the media and to pull on the heartstrings of the media to make sure that they get what their desired outcome is, no matter how corrupt and how wrong by every sense of the word it is. This is the way that they work it. And he actually told me about a case involving a child murder and how this very DA suppressed the evidence for 7 months until the election time. I don't know if somebody's moving or anyway, until the election time. And then what happens? Well, then they use it to their liking. Okay, we've got to soon end because I've got some other people, and you're welcome to stay on the line. Gerald, you're a father,
yes,
you're a grandfather. I want to wish you, sir, who has fought this fight and continues on, and I have so much respect for you on a personal level, and on a professional level. I want to wish you a happy Father's Day before I forget this, because this is Father's Day weekend. And if anybody stepped up to the plate to be a father, you're a father right now to these 3 children, these young children, these young boys. You've stepped up to the plate.
Well, thank you very much, Tammy. And again, thank you for letting me come on. And again, I would encourage the audience to take a moment, take a look at The Darker Side of Justice. It tells the story. It's very important that the story gets out and it's told. My hope is that someone will read it that's in a position to make a difference.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, when you read this book, folks, You're going to feel the chills are going to come over your body. You're going to feel afraid of the actual evidence, because this isn't just your point of view. You've put in a lot of documents. These are court case documents. They can't be refuted. This is not just an opinion. I do want to say one more thing before we close. I spoke with Gerald earlier, and he teared up, and I don't think I want to make you tear up again. I wish that the audience could hear what I heard. I'm just not feeling God move my heart to make you tear up. The grandmother, maternal grandmother that took Gabe, that said he was wonderful, that he's been abused, that this woman's the monster, she couldn't handle it. Gabe went to a reform school under the state because she couldn't handle it. He must have threatened her. Something happened, okay? And what? He then escaped the reform school, folks. He went on the run. Gerald, the last you heard, and I know that you heard it from a reliable source, is he back in the reform school? Can you give us a 10-second update?
Well, yes, as I understand it, and I got it from reliable sources that I can't disclose, but he only escaped for a few days and then returned. I think what happened is he just got hungry and when it came back. I don't think they actually had to catch.
This is a game to Gabe. This is a game, and I'm saying his name. I know he's a minor, and I don't think it's his fault. He's medicated. He's drugged up. He was abused while in his mother's care. The kid needs help, and instead he's been used as a pawn by the state for the state's benefit. They needed somebody to put up on the cross. Jamie Day was that woman. She's been a victim. This young man, this young boy who really needs help, he's been a victim too. Gerald, God bless you. We will continue to update. We've got more things, and we'll put them out on the website. God bless you, sir. You have a wonderful day today, and you're welcome to stay on the line, but we've got to take somebody else.
Okay, I appreciate it.
God bless you. John, do we have Terry on the line, or do we have Joshua on the line? Or do we have neither?
I'm here. But
Hi,
in
Terry.
5 minutes, I'm going to be going through this.
Okay. All right, Terry. I want you to
if I lose you, I'll have to call back.
Terry, I want you to quickly introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Terry LaPointe, and I work with medicalkidnap.com, which is a division of Health Impact News. And we cover lots of these stories about medical kidnappings that are with a medical twist to them.
Yes.
And
you covered a story.
I'm heading to the.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
You covered a story a couple of days ago, and I was involved in it, a small amount, certainly nothing compared to what you've done, Terry, and your advocacy and your loyalty to these families. I want to tell you how much I honor and respect you. You're awesome. You're just awesome, and God bless you. But this case in particular involves a young lady who was raped. Tell us about that.
She was raped by somebody, not a family member. Let me clarify that right away.
How old is she? How old is
she? Not a family member. 14 years old.
14 years old.
14 years old.
A 14-year-old rape victim who made a choice. Yes. What was that decision, Terry?
She made a choice to give life to her baby. She was offered the chance to abort the baby by the. I'm not sure who mentioned that, but that was never an option for her. She said, "I don't believe in that. I don't believe in abortion. That is not an option." And she told her grandparent, her custodial grandparent who raised her, that she adores, very clearly adores, and they adore her. She told them, "If you will support me and stand by me, I will have this baby. I will love this baby and raise this baby."
Okay.
And they readily agreed, and they have supported her every step of the way.
And Monday of this week, lo and behold, she took care of herself through her term, and she gave birth to a beautiful little baby.
Yes. Yes. And
Wednesday,
naturally, she didn't want an epidural.
She didn't want an epidural.
Right.
She wanted everything to be the right way. She's a young girl. She was raped.
Yes.
She didn't fall in love, folks. This wasn't some silly puppy love situation.
No,
she was
absolutely not.
Yeah, she was victimized, but she stepped up to the plate as young as she is,
Yes.
braver than many adults.
Yes.
And yet now, Terry, she has been victimized, raped again, but not the physical rape. The emotional rape by a system that is raping families every day, many times a day, not only in this country, but across the world. But this little girl got raped by a system, and that system was called what?
DHR.
DHR.
Department of Human Resources.
Department
Yes.
of Human Resources.
Which is the Child Protective Services in Alabama.
In Alabama. Terry, speak into the phone if you would. We want to hear you nice and clear, honey. Okay, DHR, Alabama.
Okay.
Do you know the name of the worker? Evans, isn't it Evans?
I can't pronounce her name. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
That's okay.
I'm
Social
sorry.
worker Evans.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Social worker Evans.
And I may be going to lose you in just a moment. If I lose you, I will call right back.
Okay, don't lose us yet.
I'm going to a dead zone very soon. I've got to get Judah to the airport.
Judah.
It's so crazy. It's been an insane day.
All right, Judah.
Yes, Judah is right
here.
here.
With you. All right, Judah, we want you to introduce yourself quick. We love you and we honor you and we respect what you're doing. Go ahead. We may have just lost them. Folks, Judah.
Hello, this is Judah.
Oh, wonderful. Judah, please introduce yourself to my audience if you would, and God bless you.
Oh, God bless you too. My name is Judah Myers, and I'm the founder of Choices for Life, and we help females who are pregnant after rape or who are raising their children.
You help parents who have been victimized through violent crimes, rape, and who make a choice to choose life, to have these children, even though they don't know the perpetrator that victimized them. Is that correct?
Sometimes they know their perpetrator.
Well, sometimes they do.
But
okay.
What society doesn't, yeah, sometimes they do. The problem they face really after they've been raped and are pregnant is when they choose to keep their child. The world says that's the rapist child. See, the man steals their body and society tries to steal their baby. And when somebody says that that's a rapist child, basically what you've done is you've taken this poor victim, you've insulted her by saying that baby belongs to the rapist.
Right.
You have devalued her and said, you don't want that thing, and that thing is half hers. I mean, the whole baby is hers, but half of her DNA is in there.
That's
and nobody looks at a baby and says, oh, my gosh, this is a monster. There are people that do that, but there's people who have children and they're married and they say that. So
That's
the rape does not make them think of the rapist. The baby doesn't make them think of the rapist. It makes them think that God loved them enough to give them a baby. And I know people say, oh, God gave them rape. No, God lets us do what we want to do, and then he comes behind and works with us.
That's right. But in this case, you're in Alabama right now. You're on the way to the airport. You flew to Alabama. Why?
Well, because I've seen over and over where the victims of rape are re-victimized when they choose to give life. Some of them, their babies are taken because, no one wants those children. So certainly that girl was not going to be able to take care of it. They didn't say anything like that, but they did end up taking the child.
Wait a minute. But just because we've got to fill in the audience in 2 minutes or so. 14-year-old girl, you got a call, you found out about this story, another rape victim along with the many that you've dealt with, and you got on the plane and you flew there to support this young lady who made a decision for pro-life, and you were there and you got a chance to see this beautiful baby, this newborn baby, and you saw the mom holding this baby, and you saw the love, and you saw something else. You saw something else, didn't you? You were in the hospital room, and tell us, what did you see?
Well, for Terry and I, it was the most horrible experience that we have both experienced. And I've seen a lot, I heard a lot, but this particular time, 3 officers entered the hospital room, and they stood with the DHR director, supervisor. And the supervisor stood over this precious little girl while she nursed her baby, a 14-year-old, who is so conscientious and loves her baby so much. She is nursing her baby, and she's nursing like a pro. And this woman is literally standing over her like a vulture, waiting for that baby to stop nursing. They escorted both Terry and I, they escorted us out of the hospital, because if we stayed, we would have been trespassing.
You would have been trespassing on hospital property, correct?
They didn't want us on hospital property at all. So those 5 security guards, the officers, they escorted Terry LaPointe and myself out like we were criminals.
Have you ever been escorted out of anywhere in your life?
No, I haven't. And neither has Terry. This is kind of an insult. I was coming to be the advocate for this precious girl, and Terry had been working with them already. And so, in a way, she was their advocate as well. That wasn't supposed to be the story.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You went there to hug this girl, to support. To give her support, and instead what you saw was nothing less than the gateway to hell. You saw child kidnapping is what you saw from an entity, not criminals like
abuse.
Abuse.
No, I saw child abuse because they tortured this mother, because they tormented her with, we're going to let you keep the baby and then come in here with all the police, and it was heart-wrenching to see this young girl just crying. Here's a mother who went into labor with no medication whatsoever. She went that route because she loved her baby so much. But here she is, she's raped. She endures, the humiliation and the shame, and she wants her baby, and she delivers this most beautiful baby so successfully, and she has this baby in her arms, and she's loving it and thanking God that this child is hers. And in comes somebody pretending that they are working for her best interest and rips the child, literally peeling her fingers from her newborn, 51 hours old baby.
Folks.
And they said it was because of safety reasons. Safety concerns were their issues. But see, if there's safety concerns at a house that the mom was going to go to, the mom is 14. Why aren't you taking the mother too, if that's a, quote, safety concern? But what happened was is they took the child, and we blew up Facebook with all kinds of stuff. And then Terry did an absolutely wonderful article that people can find at medicalkidnap.com.
Absolutely.
And this blew up everywhere. Almost 1 million shares and views, and it went viral in just a matter of hours. And because we said, isn't that interesting that they use the reason is safety for taking this child away, and if it's so unsafe, why are they leaving the mother to go in there?
That's right.
And so here they came last night and took, she's a twin. They took her brother and they took her. And they said if the brother didn't get in the car because he was not wanting to go, these most concerned police officers and a DHR representative, those were so concerned that they were going to taser the boy if he wouldn't get in the car.
Oh,
how's that
my
for
God.
concern?
And now these are kids that have had no problems before DHR decided that they were salivating over a newborn baby that they could sell to the next person that was standing in line that put an order in.
$4,500.
Oh no, it goes a lot more than that.
$4,500.
It goes a lot more than that.
They pay. The foster parents get $4,500. Now I thought maybe the person that told me this didn't really know, but she said she had seen a check for $4,500 given to the foster parent. Now I met another woman in the courthouse that said, "Oh, my child was taken too," and she started telling me all this stuff, and without me saying one word about our case, this girl said, and they gave the foster parent $4,500 for my child. And her little girl was 6 years old and raped in the custody of a foster parent.
Oh my gosh. Listen, folks, this is not rocket science, and I'm going to say that every single show from here on in, okay? Your child could be next. This 14-year-old rape victim chose to have the child. She did nothing wrong. There cannot be any allegations of safety because she never left the hospital. It was 2 days later. She had the baby on Monday. Wednesday, DHR was in there. I was on the phone with the DHR worker who refused to speak to me. And the most that she would do is give a card, a business card. Thank God she had one. Many don't. To Terry LaPointe, who is an investigative journalist for medicalkidnap.com. Judah Myers got involved. She flew in, being the support for this 14-year-old victim, and they all witnessed, including myself via the telephonically, we witnessed nothing short of a crime, a kidnapping, a B&E, known as breaking and entering, into a hospital room, and then we witnessed via telephone a video that is being posted, and I think that you ladies are going to continue to post it because you have a lot there. Even though you were illegally told to stop video recording in a hospital, that's discriminatory because there's other folks there that are videotaping their families, their childbirth, but yet for you, who was a eyewitness to a crime, they told you there is no video recording on our property, which is a blatant lie. A blatant lie.
And they were screaming at me.
Oh, and here's two women, folks, that I'm telling you, they are, they speak their minds, but they are not violent. They are not rude. They are articulate, and they stand their ground, but they're not going to take on knives and guns like the guns that were sitting in the holsters of the sheriff that came to tell them, you ladies have had enough. And I'm going to name that sheriff because I spoke with him and he was rude to me, and he said, we're in the state of Alabama. And I said, that's fine and dandy, sir, because guess what? You are obligated to follow the Constitution. It's how you're trained. And if there is no safety risk that rises to the level of removal of this child, you are breaking the law. And he said, pretty much, and I'm not going to quote this, in Alabama, they do things the way that they do things. And when I asked him who was his superior, he was the superior, folks. In the whole sheriff's department, he was the one. And I hung up the phone. I called the sheriffs, and lo and behold, law enforcement, he was the one that was on duty. Folks, we've got a problem, and this is not rocket science. They're stealing our children. Judah, I want to interview you more. I can't do it during this show because we're fitting this in. Right now, the state of Alabama, because they've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar, they have now gone in and not only stolen this young victim's child, her baby, and she didn't do anything wrong, but they have stolen her now because now they've got to shut her up. And how do you do it? Well, you take her and then take the twin brother because they're connected. Take the twin brother, and all the while, the grandparents who have been caring for these kids, the grandfather, is a retired law enforcement agent, folks. He's a retired law enforcement officer. And the grandmother has been doing everything. They've done nothing wrong, and they've been approved by the courts as upright citizens, as having a safe home. And now they're the victims. How many victims before the general public stands up and says, we're angry and we're not taking it anymore, enough is enough? We don't want child stealing, thieving, kidnapping right here in our country, the United States of America. Folks, this is real. Stop looking at the third world. We are living in a third world country right now. The three worlds. We've got the government, we've got Child Protective Services, and gosh, it seems to be that law enforcement is not stepping up to the plate. Come on. It's time that we take our country back, and not through violence, through reasoning and through unity of truth and transparency. God bless you, ladies. Terry LaPointe, we're going to have you on again because we are not.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Hello? Oh,
Hello?
hi. Hello? This is Terry. Who is this? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me, folks?
Oh, now I can hear you.
I hope
Hi.
that you.
This is Terry.
I don't know how long I've been on mute here. John? Okay. Who else do we have on? Do we have Joshua on the line?
Hello?
Okay. Tell me who is speaking now. We've got all sorts of things going on here today. Who is this? Is this Terry?
This is Terry.
Okay, Terry,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Have you heard what I've been telling you for the past 5 minutes?
I've heard some of it. Judah handed me the phone back, and
Okay.
so I could listen. Yes, I've heard a good bit of it. Yes.
Wonderful. We have to conclude right now, ladies, because I have to speak with one other gentleman, and we're running out of time here. Terry, I need to continue this conversation, and Judah, if it's possible,
Absolutely.
that you can please join us, because people really have to understand what you witnessed. Thank you so much. This is important. People have a contorted understanding of what is really happening. They think that this only happens with bad people and with
Right.
drug addict parents, and
That's what I thought.
yes, well, they don't understand, and it's time, folks, because we need to stop this, to shed real light on this from some real credible people that people trust, and that, you know, they need to understand. So, ladies, God bless you, and thank you for joining us. I have another caller that I have to just touch on this other story, because the stories come in too quick for anybody to possibly be able to cover them all. Judah, have a safe flight, honey. You have a safe flight, and God bless you. Thank you, Terry. God bless you. MedicalKidnap.com,
God bless
folks.
you. Thank you.
You need to see the latest article about the Alabama story to read in detail. Thank God for Medical Kidnap. Okay, we're moving along. Joshua, are you on the line with us?
I am on the line. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Boy, what a crazy show today, and we don't have a lot of time. We had a lot of, a lot of Tammy time, I guess. Okay. I need to update the folks on what is happening, okay? This is Remove Rocky Crab, folks. Pomona, California, a commissioner who continues to go rampant with his tyranny and destroy parents' lives, and worse than destroying parents' lives, he is a direct component to placing children in the hands of danger. He is the one who has the choice. He is the decision maker. He's been given this power to make these decisions, and his decision is place the child in danger at all costs. We must put a stop to this, folks. Not illegally, legally, using the legal system. Joshua, where
Yes, ma'am.
are you today, and what are you doing, and what have you been doing?
I'm in Pomona. I've been in Pomona all day. We got more signatures at the courthouse. We took flyers even out to the DCFS in Pomona and put them on windshields of cars. And I was just at Starbucks. I don't know if you got my text message about what just happened.
I didn't, but I'm getting my phone right now.
Okay, well,
take a look at it. Oh boy.
I was at Starbucks just now, and I was just grabbing a drink inside Starbucks, and in walks 3 sheriffs from the Walnut Sheriff Department.
No way.
So as soon as they walk in, they see I'm wearing the Remove Rocky Crab T-shirt, and they're just staring me down. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just here getting a drink. Well, then one of the sheriffs walks up and stands right next to me, and he says, "Are you the guy that's doing that Remove Rocky Crab thing?" And I go, I'm one of the ones involved. I'm not the organizer of it, but I'm one of the ones involved. I'm a supporter. And I go, that's why I'm wearing the T-shirt. And he goes, and don't you have a case against Katrina Keith? He goes, isn't your name Joshua? And I go, yes, sir, I am Joshua. I go, how can I help you? And he goes, well, I just thought I spoke with your ex just recently.
Oh, really?
And she came into the station to file a report against you for violating a restraining order. And he goes, and she showed us the radio show interview that you did. And I said, oh, you mean the interview with Tammy Stefano on National Stage? I go, yes, that's a national radio show. I go, is there something wrong? Well, she tried to file a complaint on you, but obviously we had to advise her that he's just walking a thin line, and obviously he knows not to cross that line. And he said, so I just have to warn you. He goes, I'm glad I ran into you because I was going to call you anyway I talk to you about this stuff. And I said, well, I haven't violated that order. The order said I can't post anything on my social media, and I haven't. And I said, in fact, in that interview, I don't even mention my ex's name. And he goes, right. You did. I go, no, I did not. He said, you did mention their names. He said, you mentioned your daughter's name, Journey. I go, I said, you might want to reread that order, officer, because now you're telling me I can't even mention my daughter.
Wait a minute, Joshua. He said that with conviction, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
Did he see the show?
Yeah, apparently. He said that she showed him the video, and they watched it together, and he said, you mentioned her name once.
I'm going to call the Walnut. Did you happen to get a badge number?
No, I should have, but it was basically there's 3 sheriffs there, and they were joking. What happened was I was illegally interrogated inside a Starbucks, and they're talking about my case and a restraining order in front of the public.
Wow.
And this is inside Starbucks.
Inside Starbucks. And they referred to your ex-girlfriend by name as if there was a very personal relationship, it sounds like. Am I right?
Exactly. And they've basically told me I cannot even be mentioning my daughter's name. And I said, no, the order says I can't post anything on my social media, and I have not done so. I said, I know the limits. I said, I have a legal support team, and they tell me what I can and cannot do, and I have not violated that restraining order, and I don't plan on doing it. And then they called my name. They asked me, the lady said, oh, here's your coffee for Joshua. And I said, that's right. That's me, Joshua James, proud father of Journey James.
Proud
and all
father.
3 of those sheriffs, they just looked at me. And I said, and I'm not stopping, officers, until I get my daughter back. And you better believe I will be getting her back. And I said, you all 3 have a wonderful weekend. And I just walked out.
Wow. This is unbelievable. Joshua, this is nonstop. I had an opportunity to get to know yet another victim of Rocky Crabs. Another victim. This victim has, well, let's see. They have, jeepers, I'm wondering. Hold on, guys. John, are you still with us?
It's actually Tony.
Oh, okay, Tony. Thank you. I'm seeing all sorts of stuff go on here, and I just want to make sure. Okay. The victim of this other case, he has submitted exhibits that, Tony, if you have them, I don't know if John gave you the pictures or not, but if you have the pictures that John saw, I'm going to show pictures right now of a little girl's arm with a cigarette burn. This is an exhibit given to Rocky Crab by a father, an abusive mom who has given this child black eye. Didn't your daughter have a black eye, Joshua?
Yes, she did. Bruises, lesions.
At 2 years old.
Yeah,
bruises,
2 years old.
Yeah. Bruises, lesions.
Horrific genital blisters. I mean, her private area was so severely red. I showed the photos to a medical physician, and he said that is neglect. That's from sitting in a soiled diaper for hours and not having a diaper change.
Tony, do you happen to have any of the pictures? I don't know if John.
Yeah,
had a chance
I was showing them.
Oh, you were? Okay,
yes.
I can't see that. Thank you so much, folks. So you had a chance to see. These are exhibits that were given to this man, and you know what happened as a result? Now, these are actual photos. A child, this is like Gabriel Fernandez having cigarettes burned into her arm, for God's sakes. This father was then denied custody and given 4 hours a week. From 9:30 to 1:30, 4 hours a week to see his child, okay? No allegations against him, and it should be known, this was a dependency case for this father, but not because of the father, but because of the abusive mother, and I can say that with conviction. Why? Because the abuse was substantiated against the mother. And there was a court proceeding, and I'm still getting to the bottom of this, and we will, that 3 different children were on this petition. 3 different children, 2 separate fathers. And this father that we're speaking of that's been before Rocky Crab, he's only one of the fathers, okay? But the other father, on the same day, won his children in dependency court based on black eyes, bleeding, bruising, bruising throughout the 2 other children's bodies with photos to prove it. A mother methamphetamine addict who was put in a treatment program, but instead of giving the father, who has no conviction, and I've got the paperwork where DCFS says there's no safety risk with father, the second father, nor the first father gets custody of the 2 kids, and the children get given to him, but this father becomes a victim, has his child go and have to live in a methamphetamine shelter with the mother, and it doesn't make any sense. And then we've got Rocky Crab, commissioner, who says you'll get 4 hours every 2 weeks, you'll get 4 hours a week. What's going on, folks? This is crazy.
And if I can touch on that, Tammy, that mother has a rap sheet that includes domestic violence, battery, and grand theft auto. Just like you said, she's a drug addict on cocaine, and DCFS did a complete evaluation on the whole history of both parents, and in the entire 21-page report, all 20 pages claim that the mother is an endangerment to the children. She's a risk. She should not have, any. She's basically the most unfit parent you can think of. They say in 20 pages, and on the last page, they say, but we at DCFS feel that the mother should have, full custody of this child, and the father should only have 4 hours. The father is a security guard with no criminal background and no mental history.
I want to read something. This is your case, and we've got to go. We've got a minute left. This is awful. I want to continue this conversation, actually, Joshua, via Skype. So we're going to continue this. But for the show, we've got to stop it soon. I want to read this. Petitioner. This is Katrina, and I can say this name, Katrina, and this is a public forum that allows me to do so. She said, when I first filed, Your Honor, I asked for some type of therapy or classes, but now that the respondent, that being you, Joshua, has come to court, pretty much stating that he's not going to stop bringing the evidence to this court, I believe taking his rights, his parental rights away would be the only way to protect my child. Just because stop, and I don't know what else. I don't know how to silence him. Well, it seems like she does a little bit, because she had a pretty intimate discussion with the Walnut Police Department, and they went to the same coffee shop, coincidentally at the same time as you. So there must be something else that she has in mind. And you said the bottom line is we've been dealing with this for 2 years. I'm tired of fighting. Okay, I come to court with these issues because where else do I take this? I've tried everything. Joshua, are you afraid that your daughter Journey is in danger?
Absolutely, every day.
Every day. Do you think that the judge, or not the judge because he didn't make the judgeship, but do you think that the commissioner in this case has caused her to be left in danger?
No, he's put her more at risk. He's put her more in danger.
He's placed her in danger.
Just like he's done with the families. He's done that with several families. And on our website, removerockycrab.com, you'll see testimonies from both mothers and fathers claiming the same exact situation. And these are all families that email me constantly and cry to me in person, and they tell me their story, and they post comments in our petition, and it all adds up. He's put so many children in harm's way.
Okay. Tell us the name of the website quickly.
RemoveRockyCrab.com. That's CRABB.com.
C-R-A-B as in boy, B as in boy. Crab, like a Krabby Cakes from SpongeBob, because every time I think about SpongeBob, I can't help but think Rocky Crab. No, I really, it's unbelievable. It's not a good thing. Joshua, I want you to hang up here. I need to say goodbye to my listeners for the moment. Folks, this isn't rocket science. You've heard 3 different egregious, horrific situations today. And when will you get mad enough when it happens to you? I don't know how many parents I've heard tell me, if I only knew then what I know now. Well, folks, we're teaching you right now. Don't wait for your number to be pulled. Take a stand now for truth and transparency in our justice system, in our court system, in our. There is no reform for our child protective services system. There's no reform. It's just going too far down the rabbit hole. We need a new system, and the citizens in the United States and those who are non-citizens, the residents, those who live here, who are reasonable and safe and care about children, they need to run the system. UBN Radio, once again, we love you and we honor you. UBN Radio has taken a stand for the protection of children everywhere. And medicalkidnap.com, we love you. If not for entities like this, we would not be able to go forward with these stories. Folks, Fridays, 2 p.m., live, National Safe Child Show. My name is Tammy Stefano. Contact us at our website, www.nationalsafechild.com. Give us your story. If you want to be a guest, you can call in live. We'll see you next week, Friday, 2 p.m., ubnradio.com. God bless you. We love you. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the National Safe Child Show on UBN Radio. For past episodes, visit the archives on ubnradio.com. And for more information, go to nationalsafechildcoalition.com.